93, 93, 93. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Welcome to another early morning tap in. Salute to everybody in the past, present, and future. So, in this particular discussion, we will discuss the difference between shadow work and shadow magic. What's up, Sophia? Greetings, greetings. All right. See, in these times, the world is like obsessed with shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work is like the dark night of the soul. People feel like they have to heal, they have to cleanse, right? They have to get back to themselves. All this new agey talk, right? Like we're just a bunch of scarred, traumatic, or traumatized people, and we got to just cleanse ourselves from all of the trauma that's in our genetics, that's in our DNA, so on and so forth, right? This narrative has been pushed online for years at this point, right? Pretty much victimhood. We're victims. And because we're victims, because of whatever we went through or the ancestors went through, the elders went through, whatever the case may be, we basically have to deal with those sins, right? In other words, when they say things like, the sins of the father will visit the son, right? So whatever you can say your sins are, basically is passed down through the DNA, through the genetics, right? So this narrative has been pushed for years at this point. What's up, Keenan? 93, right? So everybody's just ultra into this shadow work. They got to get through these dark nights of the soul, right? They got to go through all this madness, right? And me personally, I don't really subscribe to any of that. I guess for obvious reasons. I don't look at myself as a victim. I don't look at any of you as victims. Whatever has happened to me, whatever has happened to you was absolutely necessary. Even if it was distasteful, even if you didn't like going through it, it was a part of your ultimate alchemy. So that does not make you a victim. That actually makes you we can say, a shadow magician. So that's, again, I'm just here to switch all this whole narrative. Because like I can't even watch this stuff, right? I be trying to educate myself on YouTube like everybody else. I can't because like these narratives that's being pushed, again, the same thing with the narcissist, right? You got all this content on narcissism and everybody's trying to beat the narcissist, and it's like this shit don't have anything to do with anything because that just further makes you a victim. Oh, I was a victim of a narcissist. I was a victim of a egomaniac. I was a victim of somebody who was low vibrational. I was a victim of this. I was a victim of circumstance. I was a victim of my race, my creed, my culture. I was a victim here, a victim here. The moment I start hearing that, it's like I can't deal with it. Because when you put that narrative on yourself, that doesn't empower you, which you may think is empowering you, but it's not empowering you. Let me give you an example of shadow magic. Meaning that means if you went through something, this is what qualifies you to be a shadow magician, aka a shapeshifter, just to make it this even more plain, even more clear, or as we call a shaman, right? We know one of the oldest ways of life, one of the oldest cultures, one of the oldest religions, whatever you want to call it, is shamanism, right? And if you study shamanism, you will know about things like shaman sickness, The average person don't know anything about shaman sickness because we're too busy thinking about victimhood. Most people don't realize they're shamans. So your trauma is not something that can be healed through therapy. Because that's what they want you to believe. Maybe you should visit a therapist. Maybe you should talk to somebody, right? Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Hey, 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 hey. Got the cat right here. You're just going crazy on me. Now, if you are a shadow magician or a shaman, and that is your culture, that is your creed, you will be going through what is called shaman sickness, meaning your health may decline. You may be faced in weird circumstances that don't make no sense. You may feel like you're cursed. You may feel like somebody put a hex on you. That's how a lot of people feel, right? A lot of people feel like it's some dark, sinister magic being utilized against them. Like somebody is thinking about them so much that they're casting spells on them, so on and so forth. Again, it's a whole field of that type of information, right? Somebody's doing something to you, right? Somebody got to always be plotting on our downfall, right? But again, as I said, this shit just makes me tired. I be falling asleep on these videos. I can't even finish these videos. See, that's how I know. Like when something is authentic versus if it's bullshit. If I begin to get tired when I'm watching content, I'm like, all right, this is bullshit. To the point where it's like my spirit won't even allow me to even digest it. I just faint. I'm like, oh, man. Versus if I'm just completely in tune, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is authentic. But again, that's not that common though, right? And I always be saying this because again, I've been around longer than these people, right? I've been on YouTube when it was authentic. When you can type in shamanism and you see an actual shaman doing shamanistic work, like a real authentic shaman. Because in the early days of YouTube, there wasn't too many pretenders. If you came onto this space, then you were what you said you was. There was really no way to fake it because there was nothing to gain from it. Because again, this was before you can actually make money. Once people were able to make money and generate an income for themselves, now it's like, yeah, you be whoever you want to be, right? As long as people believe you, then you can make money. So that's why, I feel honored. I feel honored to have witnessed YouTube before all this. Because that's when I started to learn. That's when I started to gain knowledge, when there was no reason to pretend, because you will have nothing to gain from that. There is nothing to gain being something that you're not. In today's times, however, that's not the case. You can be whoever you want, gain whatever you want. But let's not get, too far distracted with that. I'm just letting you know the difference. So as a shaman, you have to go through shaman sickness. And the only thing that will heal shaman illness or shaman sickness is if you shamanize. Shamanize is basically the equivalent to performing your divine duty, as we call true will, as we call thelema. Meaning the only thing that's going to heal your sickness is if you perform what you came here to do. That's the only thing that's going to heal you. It's not going to be through therapy. It's not going to be through anything else. You need to perform your divine duty or your demonic duty, depending on which route you take. That's the only way to heal yourself. So the only true healing is aligning yourself with your divine will. However, your divine will causes you to have to go into the demonic world as well. Meaning you can't just strictly be angelic, which again that's another issue. Like everybody's angelic, God talks to all these people, right? Everybody's connected to the source. Everybody's connected to the divine. It's like, again, because I'm a little older, it doesn't have the same effect on me as it may have to the youth or the younger generations. I'm just looking at this stuff like what are we doing here? But it helps me to understand my position as well, man. I guess I'm supposed to be the one to set the record straight because I actually witnessed this. So it's not like I read a book about this shit. I was actually there, right? I was actually there creating content at this time when YouTube was in its early stages. So I was there. I witnessed it. I saw it. I dedicated thousands of hours to this shit in the early days, not even the new days. Like I don't even. I wish I would dedicate that much time to watching other people's content, but it's just not even out there. Hey, hey, this cat is on one right now. Hold on. Like he really wants to go in. He's going in on me right now. He's going in on me right now. See what I learned about cats? They like to play shadow games, especially observing a younger cat. See, it's different. Like if a cat is already older, it's a little different. But when a cat is younger and you can see its development, I guess it's the same thing when you have children, right? When you are actually able to see the children grow and develop from young, you're able to really see their true nature without it being, covered with all this extra shit as we call it, trauma and victimhood, like before all that. When you're able to see somebody in their authentic source, when they're just pure. And with cats, I'm like, oh, these are shadow. These motherfuckers like playing shadow games. What I mean by shadow games, like a cat will turn up on your ass, will claw the fuck out your ass, right? See, it's different with dogs, right? You can say like a dog is very loyal. A dog, the last thing a dog wants to do is like hurt its owner, right? That's the last thing the dog wants to do. A dog wants to be loved, right? A dog likes, for attention to be on them. A dog enjoys, that bond. Cats, on the other hand, because they're so independent, because they're mini lions, they don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Right? Their whole mentality is different. Their whole approach to everything is different. Meaning, yeah, they start turning up on your ass. It don't matter if you're the owner. It don't matter that you feed them. It don't matter none of that shit. They're not thinking like that. They would just turn up like, yo, it's time to play a shadow game. And what I mean by a shadow game is, like for example, it'd be times where I'm playing with the little kitty, and this motherfucker it gets serious on me. Fucking shit, claw my ass, and now I'm bloody. The kitty that made me bloody. My hands is bloody and shit. I'm like, oh, he was really turning up on me. He got serious on me. What I notice is like when, again, I can't speak for nobody else. I just know for me, like when I get scratched, because if you're into Palo, this is basically what I'm tying this into this. Like if you're into Palo, like Palo Mayombe, you know that the initiation requires you to get scratched. And that's how the spirit mounts you, through a scratching, right? The spirit gets into you because you have to essentially open up to it. So that's what I'm comparing it to now. And I'm using that as an example because Palo Mayombe is considered a very dark way of life versus Palo Santeria or another path, right? That's the more darker path, that's the more sinister path, right? Or that's at least the reputation. I'm not saying that the people in that path or are evil, right? 93 Morbid Clown, salute to you. Salute to you. So I'm using that as an example of, like when I play with the little kitten, I have to already know in the back of my head, this motherfucker may scratch the fuck out of me. And blood may spill. And if it do, am I supposed to be mad at the kitten? No. The kitten is showing me something. The kitten is showing me wisdom. The kitten is like, this is my nature. You must learn my nature instead of me learning your nature. And you can say that's also kind of how the spirit works, right? The spirit is not like, oh, I'm trying to learn you. The spirit don't give a fuck about you like that. You have to learn the nature of the spirit. And that's why it's called shadow magic. Because you're dealing with hidden and occult forces that most people cannot perceive. Because most people are not trying to learn the workings of spirit. Because they're too busy trying to, you can say, benefit from the spirit or gain from the spirit or trying to take away something from the spirit. They're not trying to learn the nature of the spirit. They're just trying to get whatever it is that they're getting. They're just doing a ritual to get a result. They're not just doing a ritual to actually come in contact with the spirit and to gain wisdom, to gain the wisdom. There's always something that they want in return. So that's why it has been mixed, diluted, and tampered with. You can say that's why like all spiritual forms, all spiritual way of life. I'm not just pointing and picking out, like they all have been corrupted to some degree. Bibles, Qurans, Torahs, all of these things that we consider religious or spiritual have been corrupted in some form or fashion. None of this stuff is pure. The only thing that is pure is you. You're the closest thing to source that exists, right? But we give all our energy to these books. We give all our energy to these religions. We give all our energy to everything else. And we don't even know who the fuck we are. We don't even know our magical name, right? We don't even know our, like, how do you directly connect to spirit? We don't even know what spirit mounts us. We don't even know who we are a child of if you move in that direction, right? You may be a child of this spirit, a child of that spirit, a child of that spirit. Wouldn't that be more important than trying to learn all this other stuff? But again, I digress. Shadow magic is you being a shape shifter. What does it mean to be a shape? All right, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, like, as soon as I started going in, all of a sudden the shit started glitching. Being a shapeshifter means you can move between dimensions. It's hard to move through dimensions when you feel like you're a victim. When you feel like you have gotten the shortened end of the stick in life, right? You feel like you should be way further than you are. You got all this circumstantial energy around you. It's hard to go beyond the physical plane when you feel like you're being cheated in life. How can you go to the other planes when you feel like you're being cheated? This is why a lot of people don't dream. Either they don't dream or they don't remember their dreams because they're too attached to the physical world. Feeling like, again, they're being cheated. They're not in the position that they want to be. It's all this extra bullshit, right? So when you're weighed down by all this extra shit, it's like it's impossible for you to levitate. Your astral body has to levitate for you to even dream. But how can your astral body levitate when it's weighed down with all this extra shit? It's not going to happen. Or at least you're not going to remember the experience. So it's like you can't benefit from it because you don't remember it. If you can't remember a thing, you can't benefit from a thing. That's my whole thing. That's my whole reason why I laid out that foundation. All this stuff that you hold against yourself is why you can't get into the shadow worlds, the shadow realms. And if you do go into the shadow worlds and the shadow realms, you become haunted, hexed, cursed. You have nightmares. That's not just haphazard. That's due to our own consciousness. If you have a nightmare, it was something on your consciousness. It's not something that came and attacked your ass. Because if it was able to come and attack you, it's because you were open enough for it to seep through. And you're conscious. That's how people have nightmares. That's how people, like, they be going through all type of unfortunate situations because they are open to it because of their own mentality. But again, if you look at the fucking internet, this is like majority of the people. Social media, like when I'm not even on social media. I only get on social media to post my own content. I'm not looking at other people's content because I'm like 5 minutes in, it's like I'd be looking like, what the fuck is this? Whether I'm on TikTok, whether I'm on Instagram, I'd be looking at people. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Like, that shit is weird as fuck to me. Be looking at TikTok, people be making full blown content with nonsense. But again, it's a whole nother generation. Let them do them, right? So I'm speaking to the ones who resonate, not to the ones that don't, right? I'm like, this shit is weird as fuck to me, right? But that's just me speaking now. Like that's just me now, right? But again, like I say, it's me now. But yeah, me in my younger days, this wasn't even available. So that's why I say, yeah, I guess I feel kind of lucky, right? Like, cause none of this was even a factor in the early days. I feel like I was able to observe the purity of the internet before this shit got toxic. I feel like the internet is toxic now. The internet is a very toxic place now. It wasn't necessarily before. And I'm not talking about toxic because of the pornography or no shit like that. That's actually is more pure than I would rather people watch pornography than to consume all this social media content. If I'm 100% honest, nobody else would say that, but I feel like pornography is more beneficial than all this content we be consuming filled with bullshit. People who don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, all these pretenders, all these influencers. That's more dangerous than you watching fucking porn. But you see, you can't even watch porn in school and like places of business and like yeah, you get caught watching porn at work, like motherfuckers looking at you crazy. But if you are on TikTok or you're on Instagram, that's fine. You can be on Instagram at your job. You can be on TikTok. Ain't nobody looking at you crazy because you're on social media. But they'd be looking at you crazy if you're watching a sacred act. Imagine that. This is what I mean by being a shadow magician. You can see the fuckery. Like, damn, everybody's looking at me crazy because I'm watching pornography. But if I was watching this social media bullshit, this toxic internet, everybody's like with me. They're laughing right along with me. They're on the same time I'm on. But once I make the time sacred, once I want to witness the sacred act, now all of a sudden everybody's looking at me crazy. Why do you think that is? Because these people are fucking toxic too. Because again, look at the type of shit that they're consuming. Just ask somebody. What do you watch on TikTok? What do you watch on Instagram? What do you watch on YouTube? And you look at their fucking feed. That's all you need to know. That will tell you a lot about a person. Their social media feed. That's all you really need to know. You don't even need to have a conversation with a person. See, that's the good thing about this, right? So I talked about the bad. The good thing is if you're able to see a person's feed, that tells you everything you need to know about a person. You don't need to waste no time with no other bullshit. Let me see your YouTube feed. Let me see your Instagram feed. Let me see your TikTok feed. Let me see your Facebook feed. That's all you really need to know. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. What type of content are you watching? For example, if I was to pull up my YouTube history, let me see. Let me go to the history. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Wait, let me view all. Let me view all these videos. Like I'm looking back at my YouTube history. Like I stay up to date with the news, right? So I'm looking at everything that's going on with Twitter, everything that's going on with Elon Musk, right? I'm looking at shit like how far does ancient Egypt go back? I'm looking at what's going on with Kanye West or Ye. I'm looking at what's going on with Kyrie Irving. See, I'm aware of all this stuff. Even I don't be talking about this shit because again, I don't make that type of content, right? But I'm aware of everything. I'm looking at all news. I'm aware of everything that's going on. Of course, I got ASMR videos, right? I'm looking at what's going on with Daryl Brooks, right? So really, like my feed is just news. I'm seeing what's going on with Kodak Black. I'm seeing what's going on with the takeoff. Like I'm seeing everything. Again, just news. Like when I'm looking at my feed, all this is news. So that's really what I use YouTube for or social media. I'm looking at what's going on in the world. I'm not really giving a fuck about people's personal lives and like what's going on behind the scenes. I don't care that much. I'm just looking at what's going on in the world events. That's really as far as it goes for me. Once I see what's going on the world stage and I tap out, I get to my own content, right? That's why I'm doing my best now. That's what you see. I'm showing up every day now, right? This could be time that I spend on social media, but I'm like, no, let me actually show up and give you some authentic content instead of I'm looking at other people's content. Let me just show up every day, and not just show up every day. Let me give you some ASMR. You see, I just uploaded 2 ASMR videos yesterday. So not only did I go live, then I uploaded some ASMR. So I uploaded 3 videos yesterday. I'm like, I need to upload multiple videos per day because I can complain about this shit all I want, but if I'm not giving you something else to consume, then I'm a part of the problem. So if I'm just complaining about social media, but I'm not in social media, then I'm a part of the problem. So that's why I actually have to be there. I got to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I got to put my content, not this form of content, more so my art, right? I need to increase my presence on social media if I really have something to say, right? If I'm not doing nothing about it, then why talk about it, right? So that's really why I'm talking about it, because you see I'm increasing my presence, because I'm like, this is absolutely necessary. Because what else are people going to be doing if you're not into the authenticity of the culture, right? So like there's no reason for me to be mad at the world if I didn't do anything to help the world. There's no reason for me to complain about the world if I didn't offer a solution, right? So this is just me offering a solution. You're not a victim. Trauma does not make you or define you, rather. You're not defined by your trauma because you went through X, Y, and Z. I really don't even ask people what they've been through, honestly. Those are not the conversations I even care to have. Oh, what have you been through in your life? Why do I give a fuck about that? I'm looking at how does a person utilize their elements and their resources. I really can care less what a person been through or haven't been through. Like that's just not even my concern. I'm looking at, well, how do you contain your own energy? Can you contain your own energy? Can you tame your emotions? How strong is your willpower? I'm looking at your elements. Again, the fire element, how strong is your willpower? The water element, how do you tame your emotions? The air element, are you able to have consistency with your thoughts? Are your thoughts consistent or are they scattered? And the earth element, how do you utilize your resources that you have access to? That's what I'm looking at. Because if a person is able to tame their own emotional currency or their own elemental currency, what they've been through or what they haven't been through is really irrelevant because you see them organized and you see that their elements are harmonious, right? So if you had to go through trauma to harmonize your elements, so be it. And if you didn't have to go through anything to harmonize your elements, so be it. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters, meaning consciousness is the only reality. The only thing real is consciousness. That's the only thing that's real here. So I'm looking at, well, how do you manage your own consciousness? Because that's the only thing that's real. All this extra shit is not real. It's only distractions, right? Peace back from hiatus. Salute to you, right? But that's basically the point, right? Rarely, if ever, will you find any content about shadow magic. Because everybody's too fucking hurt. Everybody's in their goddamn feelings, right? Everybody's still mad about what happened a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You got people still fucking upset and angered about things that have transpired in their lives. And you can feel it. You can see it. You can feel it. They don't even have to speak about it. But it's a feeling. You're like, yo, this motherfucker's still angry about something. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker's thoughts is all over the place. Like it's you can tell. And then it's not about what they actually been through. It's about how do you handle it. How do you handle it? That's the only thing that's the only thing that's relevant. How do you handle it? Because everybody is going to go through something. So who am I to be upset because I went through something when everybody goes through something? That's what it means to be alive. That's what it means to be on planet Earth. You're going to go through shit. So who the fuck hasn't gone through shit? That's my mentality. Who the fuck isn't going through some hardship? Your hardship may not be money. It may be emotional. If it ain't emotional, it's resources. Like everybody's going through some hardship. It don't matter what a person's position is. A person can have all the money in the world, but they don't have any love. A person can have all the love and they don't have a lot of resources. That's why I say it's all about the contents of your own consciousness, which are dark and light. Just like you have a divine, you have a demonic. But everybody feels demons are evil, demons are wicked, so they don't want to deal with their own demons, right? They just want to cast them out. And this is the last point I'm making, right? Everybody wants to cast their demons out. Everybody wants to go through an exorcism, right? Everybody wants to separate themselves from the devil. The devil is working, right? Oh, the devil is working. Well, if the devil is working, the devil is working through me. That's why I claim this shit, right? If the devil ever exists, if the devil is working, it's me. I claim it, right? So if the devil was real, then it would be me. I completely own that shit. I'm like, the very thing that so many people are just distraught over, I will own this shit. That's why you see my content is the way it is. I'm like, I just own this shit. What everybody else is just so just delirious about, I just own this shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm the devil. While you're God, I'm devil. While you're the goddess, I'm the devil. I'm Satan, I'm Lucifer, I'm all of it. I'm just over here chilling though. So what does that tell you? Maybe the devil isn't after you. Maybe the devil doesn't give a fuck about you, right? Because I know I don't. I'm not giving a fuck about no extra shit. So I don't like, why would the devil give a fuck about all the reason why you can say social media is toxic, why the world is toxic, why people are fucked up? That's all the devil, right? That's all the devil's doing, right? The devil is why the world is fucked up. It's not you though. Not you as in the person that's watching, the people as a whole, right? The civilization, the people that claim to be so civilized, right? The people that are so civilized, the people in these first world countries, they're just so afraid of the devil though. They're just religious out. There's so much of Christians and Muslims and Jews. They're so religious. They want nothing to do with the devil. They want nothing to do with demons. They want nothing to do with jinn. And that shit just left the field just wide open for me. I'm like, well, all right, cool. Like nobody's here. And that shit left it just wide open for me. Right? This shit is wide open for me. I'm like, yo, it ain't that many people around this bitch. I'm just enjoying myself. I enjoy myself in hell. It ain't that many people around. And the people that are around, they tend to be authentic. So, but that's just my own personal stance on it. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not telling you what to do. That's just my own personal stance. That's my perspective. That's just what I own. I own my shadow. My shadow does not own me. That's what it is because I'm not afraid of the devil, the devilishment. I'm not afraid to go demonic. I'm not afraid to work with the jinn, right? Because I am the jinn. The jinn came to me before God came to me. That's just my personal story, which I've told many a times on this channel. When the spirit came to me, the spirits that came to me were the jinn. When I was praying 5 times a day to Allah, I didn't feel a connection to God. I didn't feel a connection to Allah. And I was praying 5 times a day, every day. That's my history. It's people who have never even done no shit like that. There's people who have never prayed 5 times a day. I've done that. That's my history. That didn't make me feel no closer to God or Allah. But as soon as I got ran up on by those jinns, and then they announced their name to me, like, oh, now this shit got real now. I had to get ran up on by the jinn. And that's what really started my journey. And that's how I got to where I am today. It's because I got ran up on by some jinn. So while I was praying 5 times a day, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's like I'm just doing this because this is just what we're supposed to be doing. I'm not doing this because I feel a greater connection. But again, that's not everybody's situation. You go ask some other Muslims, they feel a complete connection to Allah, and salute to them. That's just not my story. That's not my history. That's just not how I opened up to myself. So I'm only speaking from my perspective because I know I'm not the only one with this perspective. I had to get ran up on by the demons and the jinn. And then they told me who they was, and I researched it, and it came out to be legit. Which never happened when I was, again, praying all the time, praying every day, being righteous, being civilized. I was doing all that, more so than most people. I was more righteous than the average person. right? Wasn't doing nothing to nobody. But soon as the devil ran up on me, now all of a sudden, I'm not saying I'm doing shit to people now, but I was able to tame my own shadow because of it. And to me, that was the whole point of this shit. That was the whole point. Taming your own shadow. Being a shadow magician. Not being afraid of your own demons, your own jinns, your own devils, your own Lucifers, your own Satans, because they are a part of you. It don't matter how much you try to deny it. That's why the devil is working. Where do you think the devil is? Is it not inside you? How can the devil work if it's not inside you? That's why people feel like, oh, the devil is personally looking out, either looking out for me or trying to fuck shit up. How is it not a part of you then? So the devil is able to, you could say, cast curses and hexes and spells on people. Wouldn't the devil be able to bless you? Or is that only something God can do? Do you even know what a blessing from the devil is? How would you even be able to distinguish what's a blessing from God and what's a blessing from the devil? How do you even know the difference? Do you know the difference? Because if you don't know the difference, you honestly could be getting blessed by the devil and don't even know it and giving the praise to God. And if that's what it is, so be it. Again, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell nobody what to do. I'm just giving my own experience. And with that, I bear peace. 93. Love is a law. Love under will.